5 minutes after 7 o'clock on a funky, fresh Friday. 96.5 KECO in Elk City, Oklahoma. About 45 degrees. Feels like it's cooler than that because of a strong north wind that blew in at some time in the night. I don't know when it started getting colder, but it did. And so I cracked a north window this morning. Stuff started flying in the room I was in because that strong north wind was strong. Wait, I already said that. But not so strong you can't get donuts at Amy Donuts, 301 North Van Buren in Elk City. They opened up at 4:30 this morning, and they're going to sell them till they're gone. 301 North Van Buren, Amy Donuts, east side of Elk City. They're round. They're rectangle. They're delicious. Donuts, Amy Donuts, 301 North Van Buren, east side of Elk City. Your forecast coming up at the bottom of the hour. What a big lineup we have for today. March Madness last night, it was madness. Marrying age in Oklahoma, what should it be? Should it be higher? It might be soon. Are shopping malls making a comeback among Gen Z? United Supermarkets, are they closing? Are they closing in our area? What's going on? And the state legislature in Oklahoma is concerned about literacy, especially in young people. Donuts out of the way, windy and cooler. You bet. 45. What'd you say it feels like?
22.
Ooh, a return to winter. Can't make up its mind. It's either going to be, there is no spring and fall anymore. We have winter, we have summer. Yeah. That's all we got. Your weather at the bottom of the hour, 225-9697 is the text line, 225-9697. You're on location. Equipment stops. Maybe you're out in the pasture. Equipment stops because of hosiery. All right, you busted a hose. You need to bust a move. Contact American Hose and Supply. Bob Maddox at AmHose. Bob Maddox inside the Camrock building. American Hose and Supply. Hoses and fittings to get you up and running, back to work, back to making money. And that's how that goes. 225-9697 is the text line. Sam Brewer is here. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you? I love saying that even though you don't like to hear it.
I hate that question.
How are you?
How are you?
Well, it's easy.
Regarding what?
It's an easy open.
But it's a worthless open.
Yeah, but it's easy.
How about this? Boy, it's great to see you.
How are you?
It is great to see. Look at you sitting there with those two eyes
Can't be that
and that shirt on. It's great to see
it's great
you.
to see someone with a shirt on.
You know what I like to do? I like to ask questions like, what is the most interesting thing you did last week?
Last week?
Well, yeah, if it's somebody I only see once a week, I say, what did you do last week?
Well, I don't know.
Because how are you doing regarding what? Regarding my health? Regarding my job? Regarding my finances? Regarding my marriage? My relationship with my children? The weather? Politics? Sports?
That's an all of the above question.
But it's a multifaceted thing because they're all different. You can't give a one or two word answer to all those things.
You give detailed answers on each.
I don't believe you.
No, I don't.
Sam, it's windy out there. I heard a weather forecast this morning by a guy saying that there was a chance of sprinkles.
Yeah. There's still a 20-ish% chance of sprinkles. Or there's a slight chance of showers before 7, and it's past 7.
Here's what I'm noticing. Your microphone is super quiet.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Not hardly.
Hello?
There we go. That's
All
better.
Right, so I have to be loud.
Yes, you're going to have to be louder this morning.
Look how loud I have to be. And then there's a chance of sprinkles between 7 and 10.
Which is now.
Yeah.
This is it's 7 o'clock.
A chance of sprinkles.
It sounds like a dessert topping.
Yeah.
All right, it sounds like a donut topping. Do you know at Amy Donuts there's a 100% chance of sprinkles on some of those donuts?
Yeah, well, I'm not hopeful for these rain sprinkles.
No, it's not going to rain. Of course not. It's just windy is all it is.
Yeah.
It's cooler and it's windy. We are in a wind advisory and a red flag fire alert today. Wind advisory and red flag fire alert, so please be very careful out there, especially those of you who are out there. All right, I'm just going to go through some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma State Legislature is in session. Top priority literacy bills overwhelmingly passed the Oklahoma House and Senate 2 days ago as leaders in both chambers inch closer to policy agreement. House Speaker Kyle Hilbert, who's a Republican of Bristow, saw his legislation, which is a House bill, pass 86-6. Shortly after, Senate bill from Senator Adam Pugh, Republican of Edmond, cleared the Senate 45-2. So both had overwhelming approval in their respective chambers, one in the House, one in the Senate. Pugh said his legislation contains about 95% of the language found in Hilbert's reading bill. Literacy legislation has been a major focus for state lawmakers this year as they seek to improve Oklahoma's poor reading scores in public schools. This is something Landry and I talked about several months ago. Word came out from somewhere, I don't remember where, that only a small percentage of Oklahoma's young people, little people,
Yeah.
are reading at grade level.
That's not good.
A big percentage, I want to say it was third grade, but I could be wrong, but it was one of those low grades, or young grades, that a very small percentage, a relatively small percentage anyway, of those students were actually reading at grade level. And I said to myself, that's a big problem. And so the Oklahoma legislature is seeking to do something about this. Now you got two bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, that seeks to address this particular issue. Let's see, both bills agree that students should repeat third grade if they score below a basic level on state reading tests and perform poorly on an alternative reading assessment. They would also require schools to provide extra instruction and summer tutoring to early elementary students who struggle to read at grade level. I'm 50, so it's been over 40 years since I learned to read. Closer to 45 years. I don't really remember much about learning to read. Or even really, I don't remember much about just reading early on in life. But it's a skill you have to learn, and the more you practice it, theoretically, the better you get at it. I understand that. I'm just wondering what the problem is. I don't have any clue. I really don't. You graduated from high school, Sam, last May, so you're 19, so we're past that for you.
Yeah, a little bit.
You've got an older sister. You've got a younger sister who's now a junior in high school, so we're past it with her. Now, I have an 11-year-old daughter, and I think you've met her.
Maybe.
Because she's your sister. She seems to be able to read.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
She can read.
She does okay in school. In fact, she seems to do well according to her grades and according to what the teacher says.
Well, that can only say so much.
She seems to do well. I'm just wondering why it is that, and I don't know how far in history this problem goes back with Oklahoma elementary students, but why are we having a problem with so many young students in the state of Oklahoma not reading at grade level? Do you remember when you were, it's been a while since you were in elementary school, do you remember students struggling to read?
No, I don't think so. No, I went to a smaller school in elementary, so there was just less kids. But I think about everyone they read on grade level.
Okay, but once you got into like junior high and high school, do you remember being aware of students struggling to read?
No, mostly because we didn't read. We're not forced to read. It's not required that you read a book in junior high or high school.
Really? You didn't have to read Grapes of Wrath or what else?
Well, no, we had to read books as a class. I'm talking about weekly books. We would have to get weekly books.
When you say you had to read as a class, what does that mean? That you read it literally in class?
Like The Outsiders.
Yeah.
And Hatchet and I don't know, Romeo and Juliet. You know, stuff you were required to read.
Yes.
By the Board of Education. I'm
So, yes.
Yeah. Well, we read that as a class. I'm not considering that because that's required. I'm talking about when we had to read individually. We all had to pick out a book, and I don't think anyone read because each book has a different grade level. Well,
these suggested pieces of legislation that are being considered right now at the Capitol would require schools to provide extra instruction, and summer tutoring to early elementary students who struggle to read at grade level. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. But why are so many, this still doesn't answer the question, why are so many struggling to read at grade level? Because I don't remember this particular issue being a big issue 20 years ago or 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I just don't remember that. Hilbert, who's one of the authors, he's the author of, I think, the House bill. He says, I'm not asking anything of parents I'm not taking on myself. My daughter's in first grade. Every year we wait is another year kids aren't getting the intervention they need. Both bills would establish teacher training academies focused on the science of reading so educators could earn an early literacy micro-credential. But if they themselves know how to read, and theoretically, if you've gone to college, if you got all the way through school, graduated from college to become a teacher, you know how to read. And if you are teaching if you graduated with a degree in elementary education, and you're now teaching elementary students, I don't know why. Wouldn't this already be a thing with teachers and the ability to teach reading?
Well, you'd think, but maybe what they're required to teach has changed. Maybe it's gotten easier.
Each school district would be required to employ a reading specialist, interventionist, or early literacy micro-credentialed holder for every elementary school. Pew's bill would assign students in 1st through 3rd grade to a transitional classroom or pull-out sessions if they score below their grade level in reading screeners. It's kind of remote retention, blah, blah, blah. Both bills now advance, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, look, I mean, there's an issue, obviously. There's a problem. The legislature is seeking to address it. I don't know how successful it'll be with the legislature addressing the problem. So what is the real problem is what I'm wondering. Is it that kids simply are never being read to at home? Is it the case that kids are just being handed a screen at a very young age and they're not actually reading words?
Yeah.
They're just watching stuff? Is that it? I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. It's unfortunate because your ability to read and comprehend information affects the rest of your education. You got to be able to understand words and concepts. And frankly, the rest of your life. You're going to need to understand words and concepts the rest of your life. 96.5 KECO is the early morning show, 17 minutes after 7 o'clock. What else is the Oklahoma legislature considering? I'm glad you asked. How old do you have to be in Oklahoma before you can get married?
I don't know.
The state legislature, or at least somebody in the legislature, wants to raise the age to 18. So apparently the legal age now is either 16 or 17, I suppose. The legal age to marry would increase to 18 years old under a measure unanimously advanced Wednesday by the Oklahoma Senate. Senate Bill 504, authored by Senator Warren Hamilton, Republican of McCurtain, would remove all exceptions for a person under 18 to marry. Hamilton said legislation he authored last year increased the age of sexual consent to 18. However, we still have a loophole in that law that allows the very thing we corrected with age of consent under the guise of holy matrimony, and this bill seeks to close that loophole. Senator Jonathan Wingard, Republican of Ada, asked if the measure would block the recognition of marriages that take place in other states. Hamilton said it would not, but that the issue could be addressed later. Wingard said he wondered if it would prevent minors from getting married in another state and then returning to Oklahoma. Hamilton said the decision to enter into a lifelong covenant is one that is of great magnitude and has consequences. Hamilton said law enforcement told him about cases where significantly older men have preyed on minors, resulting in the girls being trafficked. Now, there's a gentleman from Elgin, Republican named Dusty Devers. He's a senator, and he questioned the need to remove the exceptions. Existing law allows youth in Oklahoma to marry with the permission of their parent or guardian or under the supervision of a district court judge. Children under 16 can, listen to this astounds me. Children under 16 can marry with the court's permission to settle a suit for seduction or paternity if there's an unmarried pregnancy or a girl has given birth to an illegitimate child. That's under 16. Deaver said he has 2 young men who live in his house. If they had sought his permission to marry before they turned 18, he would have granted it, he said. Oh, look, it's his business. Do what he wants. If they're his kids or whatever, he can do what he wants with his kids. That's fine.
Weird.
He said his 17-year-old is currently engaged but plans to wait to marry until his fiancée turns 18.
Well, how old is his fiance now?
I guess 17?
Well,
I guess.
we don't know.
Anyway, this piece of legislation passed the Senate by a 45-0 vote, and it heads to the House for approval. So it would raise the legal marrying age in the state of Oklahoma to 18. Look, marriage is hard, and even if you're 20, it's hard. If you're 25, it's hard. Man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine having gotten married that young
Yeah.
because you got to be able to hold a job down. You got to make money.
Yeah.
I don't believe I was quite ready at 17 or 18 to take on a family yet.
No.
I needed a little more seasoning. So this is in the hopper now at the state capitol. That's what the legislature is considering. 21 minutes after 7, Sam's here. I'm Nathan. 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. 45, 46 degrees. North winds at about 700 miles an hour, making it feel like it's 22. Good morning, fellas. Hold on to those microphones. The wind is blowing really hard because parents do not help those kids at home. Must be talking about the reading there. The problem came in when the school system switched from learning to read by sounding out words, instead just now learning by sight. That is no way for a person to be able to figure out what a new word is that they don't have memorized. Oh, what's that called? Whole language learning? Is that what that's called? It's been so long since I've delved into this. Another listener says parents don't read to their children. They don't want to sit and listen to them read. Reading takes practice. Third grade should not be the retention year. It should be earlier. That's according to one listener. What do you think? 225-9697. Text us and let us know. We got the legislature considering intervention in early elementary reading. We've got the legislature considering raising the marrying age in Oklahoma to 18. What are your thoughts? 225-9697. Wouldn't it be nice to get out of bed whenever you feel like it and for the rest of the day, until you go back to bed, to do whatever you want? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would.
I mean, if you want to get up at 6 in the morning, do it. If you want to wait till 8, do it. And then if you want to go have brunch, when's the last time you had brunch?
It's been a while.
Brunch at 10? How about that? Late lunch at 2:30, whatever. 8 p.m. supper at the restaurant down the way. It's up to you. You can do what you want because you're retired and you've got the resources. You got the money to do what you want to do now because you made a plan, you worked the plan. The golden years can be a time to really, really enjoy yourself and reward yourself if you're ready. Get ready. Advanced Financial Strategies in Clinton, the website, retirewithbaca.com.
Nathan and Landry Brewer will continue to confuse you in just a little bit.
Duh.
On the early morning show on KECO.
They're expecting me to get whatever task done. To a farmer, a tractor, combine, gets them up and running. He's back in the field, makes some money. Guy in the oil field, their piece of equipment's running again. That makes some money. Solves that problem. I'm Brock Kalk, and my company is American Hose and Supply. We sell all types of industrial hose and fittings, oil field or agriculture. So if your farmer need a hose built, you can come in, we'll build it. You're a oil field customer and need us to come out and see you, we'll come out and see you and take an order or pick up a hose, build it, bring it back to you. If we're competitive on price, we say we'll bring it to you, we'll do whatever it takes to get it to you, make life easier on you, or you can call us to solve a problem. Hey, can you get this? Why wouldn't you? American Hose and Supply. 2111 South Main, Elk City, Oklahoma, in Camrock Building next to Fred's.
Or call 303-1123. 303-1123.
Why wouldn't you?
Right now, you can get a brand new tire for just $1. Tires aren't a luxury. You've got to have them. You need 4 good tires to get to where you're going. Through the end of March, when you buy 3 tires at Barbara Dyson Ford, you'll get the 4th tire for $1. Buy 3 tires at regular price, pay just $1 for the 4th tire. Save big right now on a complete set of new tires. It only lasts through March, only at Barbara Dyson Ford in Elk City, online, barbardysonford.net.
We start off by taking some photos, and so that I can kind of come up with a plan. But the most important factor with coming up with that plan is finding out what the patient's idea of the perfect smile is. Not necessarily everyone has the same idea of a perfect smile. Kind of like women that go to the nail shop for their fingernails. They don't all want the same shape, the same color. It's finding out what will work with their face to enhance their beauty as much as possible. Sometimes we will do a trial smile where I can send into the lab and do a mock-up, and we can actually kind of put something in their mouth to have an idea of what the outcome could look like to make sure we get the smile just right.
I'm Dr. Jamie Cameron, Southwest Dentistry and Cosmetics in Weatherford, catty corner to Walgreens. swdentalok.com,
where we treat you like family and do life-changing dentistry.
This season was challenging. Cotton prices were down, and we all felt the pressure. That's when it really matters who's handling your cotton. Carson County Gin knows the LDP program inside and out. They understood the timing, locked in the rates at the right moments, and made sure we captured the most money possible back through the LDP program. They pushed the right channels, stayed on top of the paperwork, and made sure our proceeds and LDP payments were done right. In tough years like this one, that makes a real difference. That extra money matters to our operation, and I know we're not just another load of cotton. They treat us like a priority. The gym processed our LDP payment within days, and when it was ready, they didn't mail it, they hand-delivered a check to us. When every cent counts, don't put your livelihood where you're just a number. Put it where experience works for you. Carson County Gin, just west of Pampa. Managed right and taken care of.
26 minutes after 7 o'clock, 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. 45 degrees, cloudy skies. I think I saw, well, not falling, but in the sky, I think I sensed 3 raindrops.
That's something.
It would be amazingly wonderful if we could get some rain. I think, where did I see that? An actual real chance of, when did I see that? Mid to late next week. Mid to late next week. So maybe in 6, 7, 8 days, we might get some moisture. Boy, do we need some rain. And with that wind, look, it's cooler today, which I actually applaud. No, I'm sorry, it was 92 or 3 yesterday.
This is more accurate for this time of year.
It is. We're only about 8 degrees off.
Yeah.
Today, yesterday, we were more like 30 degrees off.
Yeah.
25 to 30. So it's cooler today, which I guess helps probably a little with moisture depletion, but the wind, it's still so windy that we're going to keep losing what little moisture that we have. We'll have your forecast coming up in a few more. 96.5 KECO. Text us 225-9697. Now let me do this one. Hold on. If you have a cylinder on your farm machinery and that cylinder starts leaking, first of all, that's bad. Number 2, you need to know Bird. Bird can fix it. Roy Jones is Bird out at Camrock Supply, and he'll do it. He'll tear it apart, replace the seals, put it back together, get you working again, okay? Bird does this out at Camrock Supply in South Main in Elk City next to Fred's Steakhouse. 225-9697 is the text line. Speaking of the text line, we were talking earlier about Oklahoma legislature possibly intervening in early elementary literacy because such a large percentage of Oklahoma elementary students can't read at grade level. And so the legislature is looking at doing something about that. One of our listeners said, I think that intervention should be in first grade. When you're in third grade, you read to learn. In first grade, you learn to read. They may be right.
Yeah. You know, some people say I read at an elementary level still.
I believe that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One of our listeners said, my true thought is they need to do away with the legislature.
What?
Is it Texas or Nebraska where they only meet every other year? That's something to think about.
Yeah, we should replace the legislature.
225-9697. Sam, you were telling me about John Mateer, OU quarterback, who's actually been practicing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're having spring scrimmages and practice right now because it's spring. See, they had to wait till it was officially spring on, was it March 20th? I don't know.
A week ago today was the first day of spring, wasn't it?
Well, that would have been March 20th.
Okay, so they're spring ball, John Mateer.
Yeah, so they're getting started with that, and they're doing interviews. And he said he was practicing less sidearm and more a little closer to the ear.
Because the question was asked about his mechanics, or he said something.
Yeah.
No, he said something about his
They
mechanics.
said, how are you becoming a better quarterback or something? Working on becoming a better quarterback. And he said that, like his dad said, he needed to throw closer to the ear, which is true.
Thank you, John Mateer's dad. I was screaming at the TV several times this past season when he was throwing it sideways.
Yeah. Now, before his injury, he was throwing pretty good sidearm. But I think it would be best if he didn't do the sidearm.
Well, what I noticed is in almost every game, he had at least one ball batted down by a lineman.
Yeah.
John Mateer's not terribly tall for a quarterback anyway, but then when you throw sidearm instead of overhand, it lowers the release point.
Yeah.
And so you've got an already average to shorter size quarterback, and then throwing sidearm, lowering the release point. He had balls batted down. And yes, he needs to throw. Oh, get that ball up near your ear, son. Now, what he said, Sam, because I heard some audio from him.
Yeah.
What he said made it sound to me like when he hurt his thumb, because he brought up his thumb and how it's healing. It's still healing. What he said, though, made me think that because of his thumb, he was throwing sidearm more, I suppose, because of the grip, and it was easier to throw. That's what it sounded like to me.
Well, I think he was just equating it to the question about how he's becoming a better quarterback. Because you need a good thumb to be a better quarterback. He said it was, said you can't really throw well if you can't grip the ball. You can't really grip a ball if your thumb isn't at 100%. I'm no expert, but you need your thumb.
Thank you. 225-9697. 225-9697. That's the text line.
Now, I did see someone comment on OU, I think it was that video, and someone said, Brent Venables doesn't know how to build an offense. And then someone replied to that and said, Ben Arbuckle is the offensive coordinator. And that got much more likes than the first comment, which I found quite funny.
Do you have a dog? That dog needs to eat every single day. Get a 13-ounce can of Ranch Hound dog food for only 99 cents at Atwood's right now. It's Brian's Buy of the Week. 13-ounce cans of Ranch Hound dog food, usually $1.39 each. Right now, just 99 cents. Brian's Buy of the Week at Atwood's, Elk City, Clinton, Woodward, Altus. And because it has now become spring, they got all kinds of spring stuff, plants and whatnot. Chicken coop, medium chicken coop, save $50 right now, just $3.99.99. And then as I turn the page, they're getting more call it lawn furniture. Just chairs you set out in the yard. By the way, I'm going to renew this. If you have chairs in your front yard or your backyard, don't just use them for decoration. Actually sit in them. When the weather allows, I see this a lot, Sam, on my walks. When I go around in the neighborhoods doing my walks.
Well, what time of day do you go around?
It's usually mid-afternoon.
Okay, but are many people home mid-afternoon?
The retired people who live in many of these homes are.
That's true. No, that's
But
true.
Sam, if I drive around at 6 o'clock in the evening, once in a while you do see somebody out. But it seems to me that
less people are going outside their homes.
Yes,
to
they
stay
are.
on their yard. Now you'll see people, at a walking trail or at the, walking track, but not as many people outside their own homes on their property, like on a porch or in their yard.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, they could be in their backyard. It's not like we're going through.
Yeah, I know I am. I go around. I look in people's backyards. And sure, it gets me shot at sometimes.
Well, you've changed a bit, huh?
21-gallon utility tub at Atwood's right now, save $2. Usually $11.99. Right now, just $9.99. I got the Roundup. What else do they have? Oh, wasp and hornet spray.
Ooh,
have you seen any wasps lately?
I actually did yesterday, flying outside my mom's office window.
Uh-oh.
It was like he was trying to get my mother. I don't like that.
This is the time of year you really need to keep a fly swatter handy, not just for the
Yeah.
flies, but for the flying vermin.
Oh.
DeWalt Days tool sale, that's going on at Atwood's. What else? Oh, we've got this poultry netting. Get your poultry netting. Mm-hmm. I got all this information, by the way, in the latest edition of the Penny News that's out. Grab a copy of the Penny News. It's free. 7:35 on a finally Friday, 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. All right. Want to do your weather. I want to talk about United Supermarket.
Okay.
And I think maybe I know what's going on in Elk City, but the Homeland put out a press release talking about store closures and consolidations, and frankly, it's a little confusing.
Yeah. I saw that on the Oklahoman, and I was also very confused on the wording.
It was unclear exactly what the plan was. After they said what the plan was, it was still unclear to me what the plan was. You and Sam should order at least a couple of semi-loads of that canned dog food. You know, you're probably right.
Well, I didn't eat breakfast, so we may need to get on that.
Well, if you buy it for 99 cents, if we could sell it for just $1.09, we're making a dime on each can.
That's pretty good.
So we had a gentleman that had heard our ad on the radio multiple times and had always wanted to try to do the bulk floods with us, but just thought it would be a big hassle. And he just kept putting it off. And finally, we had a salesman go down there and talk to him. And he told us what he needed. We took him a tote of hydraulic oil, tote of motor oil, and a drum of antifreeze. Got it set up for him, and the gentleman said, "That's it, huh?" He goes, "Man, if I'd have known it was this easy, I'd have done this a long time ago." We're kind of like your easy button. We're going to get it done for you, easiest way for you. I guess they think it's difficult, moving in the tanks or totes, whatever you want, getting it set up, getting the hose reels and all that type of stuff set up, pumps. But we do it every day. So, they think it's going to take weeks. But, most times we'll be there that week when they order it, if not, within a couple of days. So they're very surprised at how fast.
Camrock is the name of the company. It's 2111 South Main, Milk City, south of Fred's Steakhouse.
He goes, "Man, if I'd have known it was this easy, I'd have done this a long time ago."
The McIntyre Red Angus Partners in Progress Bull and Female Sale is Monday, March 30th at Sweetwater, featuring over 70 registered Angus bulls, 40 commercial Red Angus pairs, and 100 commercial Red Angus open heifers. View the sale online at cci.live. For sale information, go to mcintyreredangus.com. A lot of great cattle are for sale near Sweetwater the last Monday in March. The McIntyre Red Angus Partners in Progress Bull and Female Sale is Monday, March 30th at 1 p.m. at Sweetwater.
Brian Bacca is an investment advisor representative of and advisory services offered through Royal Fund Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
You don't set an alarm anymore. You get up whenever you feel like it. You get out of bed, drink your coffee, and eat your breakfast in a comfortable, attractive home. Today you might even play 18 holes of golf, or meet some friends for lunch, or take a quick road trip for some shopping. All of those options are on the table. Tomorrow you and your better half will start getting the house ready for the weekend. Your son and daughter-in-law are bringing the grandkids. You've got big plans for those little people. When you retired, you were a little worried about how you'd spend your time. But that's all you were worried about, because month after month, year after year, you had some help working a plan. I'm Brian Bacca with Advanced Financial Strategies in Clinton, a block and a half south of Homeland. The website is retirewithbacca.com. If you get ready for them, the golden years can be a time to really live.
Generac backup generators are the industry standard, and Carter Electric in Elk City is your authorized Generac dealer. Let's face it, electricity is a highly needed element in our daily lives. It's a proven fact extreme weather impacts electricity providers. So let Carter Electric help you get the properly sized Generac backup generator for your home or business. Plus, they can professionally install it for you. So anytime the power grid goes out, your backup power switches on automatically. And it's fueled by natural gas or propane, so no refueling needed. Carter Electric, 217 West 12th Street in Elk City. Call 225-2447. Your Generac authorized dealer.
I had no clue catfish were that, particular. Because they will eat anything. 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. Let's take a look at your weather. Hey, it's going to be cooler and windier. That's really all you need to know. We do have a 20% chance of sprinkles between now and 10 o'clock. Otherwise, it's just going to be cloudy. Strong northeast winds at 20 to 30, gusting to 50, and a high this afternoon about 55. So we're going to be, my word, that means our high is almost 40 degrees cooler today than yesterday. High of about 55 this afternoon with strong north winds. And because of the high winds and continued dry conditions, we are in a wind advisory and a red flag fire alert. So please be careful. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 37. And then tomorrow, sunny and 64. Tomorrow, feeling very like spring. Very much like spring tomorrow. Sunny and 64 for Saturday. Right now on the back porch, about 45 degrees. Skies are cloudy. Winds are howling. Humidity 57%. The feels like is probably in the mid to upper 20s. 225-9697 is the text line. Text us what's on your mind as we talk about grocery store closures. Now, this is something I was notified about 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
That I was told by someone in a position to know that the United Supermarket in Elk City and Clinton was closing.
Now, what's funny is we had also been told this a couple months ago.
We heard a while back. We heard, you hear things.
Yeah.
And part of it was part of it had been speculation fueled by the fact that some days you go into some of these stores and the shelves were barely stocked.
Yeah.
And so people are wondering, are they closing down? Well, that's all it was speculation. And then finally, at the beginning of this week, I was told by a person in a position to know that the United Supermarkets in Elk City and Clinton were closing. Okay, but I was still waiting to hear some sort of word from the company.
Yeah, official press release.
And then you start seeing stories in the Oklahoman, and because the parent company is sending out a press release.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a copy of this press release. Jared got it and posted it on our social media outlets. Homeland Stores has announced blah, blah, blah. In Homeland Stores. And see, it's being presented as it's just Homeland. But the same parent company owns Homeland and United.
And Cash Saver, I think is what it's called.
And what's interesting is statewide, Homeland, and maybe even region-wide, the name Homeland is a bigger name than United. And yet, for those of us right here in western Oklahoma, we grew up with United. It's been around since 1916. The first store, Sayre, Oklahoma, 1916.
That's a long time.
That's a good long time. And so, but this is all being presented as Homeland and by Homeland, but the fact is it involves United too. Homeland Stores has announced a series of changes across Oklahoma, including closures and consolidations as part of an effort to blah, blah, blah. In western Oklahoma, the changes will directly impact both Elk City and Clinton.
And Woodward.
The United Supermarket locations in both of those communities, Elk City and Clinton, will close as part of the company's consolidation plan. Those stores will transition into Homeland locations with grand reopening scheduled for July 1. Now, taken as it is, just like that, it reads like United in Clinton and Elk City are just going to close down for a while, and then July 1st, they will reopen as Homelands.
That's what it reads like. And then on the Oklahoman, it said that the Uniteds would close and then combine with the Homeland, which also doesn't make much sense.
What does that mean? They're just taking all the leftover ho-hos and ding-dongs at United, and they're going to move them over to Homeland?
I guess. It's not like they're side by side and they can make the store bigger.
No, it's not.
They're on the same street, but still, it doesn't make much sense. Either them combining them or making two Homelands on the same street.
I continue reading from this press release we have. With several stores in other parts of the state, including locations in Edmond, Norman, and Lawton, are slated to close over the next 45 days, the Elk City and Clinton changes fall under consolidation rather than permanent closures of service in those markets.
You know what also doesn't make sense? Why would it need to close as a United and open as a Homeland?
But I don't think it's doing that. I don't even think it's doing that.
It reads as that.
It reads, it reads that way.
Why would they do that? I don't get that. So I don't know.
The newly branded Homeland stores in Elk City and Clinton are expected to reopen July 1. Well, one of two things is going to happen. Either those two United locations, the one in Elk City and Clinton, are closing down and will themselves reopen as Homeland stores too, or they're going to close down as United, and all the, I guess, employees and stock and everything will move over to the Homeland in Elk City and Clinton.
I guess.
But then that also makes it sound like the Homelands are closing so they can reopen.
Yeah.
July 1.
Well, also, what's the point of moving all this? Some of that stuff's going to expire in that time.
So what does a consolidation even include? What does it mean?
I don't understand. Especially if they're going to take that long to do all that. I don't know. All that dairy is going to expire.
Clinton already has a Homeland. Yeah, so does Elk City.
Yes.
I know that. So based on the way the press release reads, what's going on? I'm not sure I know any more than I did. I tell you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think whoever wrote that press release needed some intervention in early elementary
They need
in
to
writing.
Consolidate that press release. I don't know. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Now, so I'm left to speculate. And somebody's asking, what about employees? Good question, because this confusingly worded press release doesn't address that.
Yeah. Well, maybe Homeland's going to double their employees.
So, does that mean Elk City and Clinton's United are closing for a while, only to reopen July 1st as homelands? And so then there will be 2 at Elk City and 2 at Clinton?
I guess.
It doesn't make any sense, and I doubt that's what happens, because I don't see how that saves them. How does that consolidate and streamline and save money? It doesn't.
Doesn't make sense. Why would you need 2 homelands if you already have a homeland and United?
So here's what I think is probably meant by this and is probably going to happen. This be my guess, is that both stores are closing, United in Elk City and Clinton, and that the people or the stock or whatever are just going to be shipped over to the Homeland stores, I guess. And so then you'll just have no more United in Elk City and Clinton. That'd be my guess.
Well, that's sad.
Well, it is to me personally, because I grew up with United.
Yeah.
I grew up with Mr. Delbert Mosley, he was always the manager of United when I was 8 or 10 years old. And Landry and I would walk in and say, "Hey, girls." He'd always say that to us, "Hey, girls." And so that's where we shopped. And so Saturday, Sam, when I was like 10 years old, Saturday meant going with Mom, because the original Walmart was where Walls is now in Elk City and Dollar General.
Yeah.
And then so what that meant was you go to Walmart first on Saturday with Mom and go down every aisle and spend forever, because she kept running into people she knew and talking to them there in the aisle.
Yeah.
And then when you're done there, you take that to the car, and then you lock the car, and then you go to United to get your groceries. And you go there last because you got the cold stuff, and you don't want it to sit in the car while you're in Walmart. But that was Saturday to me. You always go into United. That's where we shopped.
Yeah.
And then Walmart moved just down the road to where Tractor Supply is now, but they didn't have groceries.
Yeah.
And then about a dozen, whenever it was, 15 years ago, I don't even remember when it was, that Elk City built a big superstore on the east side of town, and it included groceries, and there you go.
Are we one of the only towns with a Walmart Supercenter? Because I don't know if Weatherford has one.
Yeah.
They do?
Mm-hmm. They only build Walmart. I don't think there are any more non-supercenters.
That's true.
For the longest time, the Elk City Walmart, I always was told, I don't know if it was true, but I was told that it was among the biggest non-supercenter Walmarts that existed at the time.
How long ago?
No, that was like a 6th grader who told me that, so I don't know if that's true. 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. I can never figure out when Homeland bought United in the towns where they both had stores, why didn't they close United in the first place? Good question. I guess they thought they could make money.
Legacy. I mean, that's like someone buying Walmart and then closing Walmart.
12 away from the top, 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. All right, basketball last night.
Oh, that was fun.
NCAA men's basketball tournament, and I skip the college basketball season during the regular season.
Yeah.
In fact, I really don't even care about the conference tournaments, but once we get to March Madness and the NCAA men's basketball tournament, then it gets really exciting.
Yeah, I've never really watched March Madness, but that was kind of exciting.
Last night, Sam and I watched the end of Purdue and Texas. And
we watched the second half. It wasn't even the end.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it was.
I mean,
yes,
that's
it was
the ending half of the game.
But we didn't.
It was so exciting. Wasn't that exciting?
Yeah, that was.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
No, Purdue edged them on a the guy drives, the guard for Purdue drives. And with, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds, he shoots it, and it bounces off the rim, but there's a Purdue player there for a tap-in tip-in, with less than a second to go. How exciting is that?
That's pretty exciting.
And so Purdue beat Texas, and they advance on to the Elite Eight, and so they'll play again tomorrow.
Yes.
Now, tonight, I'm excited about this game. Duke takes on St. John's. St. John's, coached by the great Rick Pitino, okay? And Duke, even though they don't have Coach K anymore, Duke, I think, is a number one seed. And so this ought to be a really good game. Last night, could not stay up and watch the second game. Arizona was playing. Who were they playing? Arkansas. Coach Calipari at Arkansas. And it seems like Arizona was too much. I think I heard that Arizona was too much for them. Couldn't stay up for it.
They're number one for a reason.
But it was awfully, what I watched last night was awfully entertaining. And I am expecting today's games and tomorrow's games and Sunday's games to be equally entertaining to get us to the Final Four next weekend. Very exciting. 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. Sam Brewer that's Sam, everybody.
I'm Sam.
I'm Nathan. Jared's going to give you news in just a minute. Fine Western furniture with the cowboy flair. They're doing it the cowboy way, the traditional way at Western Traditions in Mangum. It's on page 1 of the Penny News. Jason Jones Plumbing in Clinton, Oklahoma. That's on page 1 of the B section. Zur Ranch annual production sale is April 3rd, which is a week from today, isn't it? Boy, we do, no kidding, we do have a bunch of cattle in here. March 28th, when's that? Tomorrow. Osborne and Henricks Cattle Company, they got a big sale. Looks like that's at Chickasha. That's on page 18 of the latest Penny News that I'm looking at right now. What other kind of cattle do we have? The beefy kind. We have beefy cattle in the latest Penny News. And go back to the A section and I can tell you more about that. Because this is cattle season. 9th Annual Reds in the Heartland is Friday, April 10th. OKC West at El Reno. That's on page 2 of the Penny News. What else do we have? What else do we have in the Penny News? Do we have any more? Oh, look, trailers. 32 foot. Man, that's long. 32 foot cattle trailer. It's a GR. It's got a lifetime floor. It's on page 9 of the Penny News. For trailers, look on page 9. Oh, there we go. Good cattle ought to pay their way. Red Angus, 44 bulls, 80 cow-calf pairs, April the 4th, which is a week from tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, a week from tomorrow at Wichita Falls, Texas. There you go. That's Red River Red Angus. Cody Cribbs, Loretta Cribbs, that bunch. Nice people. Partners in Progress bull and female sale this Monday. McIntyre Red Angus. McIntyre Red Angus. Can they sing like Reba McIntyre? I don't know, but they sure have good animals. Bull and female sale, Partners in Progress at Sweetwater. It's this coming Monday, 1 o'clock. That's page 11 of the Penny News. Page 11, look at all this cattle. Help wanted, they're hiring, and it's all on page 13 of the Penny News. Automobiles, feed, jobs, services, cattle. Man, son. Jared, get in here and give us news. 7 away from the top, 96.5 KECO.
Good morning. Sunny, windy, and 49. This is the Paragon Morning News. I'm Jared Atha. A fast-moving wildfire north of Foss Lake near Butler kept crews busy on Wednesday afternoon, forcing evacuations and drawing a large multi-agency response. The fire was first reported at around 3:30 that afternoon, about 3.5 miles south of Butler, and spread quickly north under dangerous fire conditions. Emergency officials warned of immediate danger to life and property, with evacuations ordered for residents in parts of rural Custer County. A reunification center was set up at Cornerstone Church in Clinton. Firefighters from Elk City and surrounding departments, along with the Oklahoma Forestry Service, responded. By early evening, crews were able to stop the forward spread of the fire, shifting efforts to containing hotspots. Aircraft assisted with water drops along the fire line. Evacuations were lifted later that evening, but crews remained on scene well into the night. Officials say fire danger remains high across western Oklahoma. With strong winds continuing into today, residents are urged to avoid any outdoor burning. In other news, a 31-year-old Mexican national is facing federal charges after a traffic stop in Custer County led to a major drug seizure. Authorities say a trooper pulled over a semi-truck on March 11th. A canine alerted to the trailer where officers found a duffel bag containing more than 20 pounds of meth. Jose Carlos Morales Gutierrez has been charged with possession with intent to distribute. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison and a fine of up to $10 million. Officials note the charge is an allegation and he is presumed innocent unless proven guilty. The case is being investigated by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol and the FBI. And Western Technology Center has named Jay Edlin as its next superintendent beginning July 1st. Edlin brings 26 years of experience in education and currently serves as superintendent at Arapahoe Butler Public Schools, where he has led for the past 12 years. He says his experience working alongside career tech programs has shown him the impact they have on students and workforce readiness. Elin will become the 7th superintendent in the school's history and says he's looking forward to continuing to build connections between education and career opportunities across western Oklahoma. In state news, Pinnell has a new job. Oklahoma News Network's Jackie O'Brien explains.
Oklahoma Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell is headed to Oral Roberts University in Tulsa. He will be the Vice President of Development and Alumni Relations. President Trump is endorsing T.W. Shannon to replace Pinnell. I'm Jackie O'Brien.
These stories and more on our Facebook page and website. Sunny, breezy out there and currently 49. This has been the Paragon Morning News. I'm Jared Atha.
We start off by taking some photos, and so that I can kind of come up with a plan. But the most important factor with coming up with that plan is finding out what the patient's idea of the perfect smile is. Not necessarily everyone has the same idea of a perfect smile. Kind of like women that go to the nail shop for their fingernails. They don't all want the same shape, the same color. It's finding out what will work with their face to enhance their beauty as much as possible. Sometimes we will do a trial smile where I can send into the lab and do a mock-up, and we can actually kind of put something in their mouth to have an idea of what the outcome could look like to make sure we get the smile just right.
I'm Dr. Jamie Cameron, Southwest Dentistry and Cosmetics in Weatherford, catty corner to Walgreens. swdentalok.com, where we treat you like family and do life-changing dentistry.
3 minutes away from the top, 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. Your vehicle needs tires. Your vehicle needs 4 tires. Well, right now, Barbara Dyson Ford, buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1. How about that? It's virtually a 25% off sale on a set of 4. But it's only through March, so you only have today through Tuesday to get this done. Buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1 at Barbara Dyson Ford, northeast part of Elk City. 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. Nathan, Sam, and you. Sam, do you enjoy going to a shopping mall and shopping?
Yeah, I do. I wish we had. I wish we had one closer to us. The closest one is in, the metro.
What do you enjoy about it?
The atmosphere, the selections. It's just.
I expected you to say food court.
That too. See, that's part of the selections. I do enjoy if it has a good food court and good selections in the food court. That's a big thing. Because if it's a good mall but it has a lackluster food court, that's a bit disappointing.
Well, USA Today has a story about one of the ongoing stories over the last 10, 15 years is malls around the country closing.
Yeah.
Because fewer people are going to the malls because everybody's staying home and shopping online, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a story in USA Today that malls are enjoying a resurgence among Gen Z. The 80s are calling, and it's not to Gen X. See, I'm Gen X.
Yeah.
I went to malls in the 80s and 90s. And then in the early 2000s, they started dying because everybody was staying home.
Yeah.
Shopping malls, once the mainstay of teens during the 80s and 90s, are enjoying a resurgence, and that's thanks to Gen Z shoppers who are craving in-person and social outlets over online shopping conveniences. And then it goes on to talk about some of these people in their early 20s who are doing this, and they say, well, it's a way to get out, see people, and it's more convenient than having to return stuff you bought online.
You get to see the stuff and you get to try stuff on. And also, if we had a mall closer, I would enjoy going to that with my friends.
It's a place to hang out with friends, to see other people. You can get food. You can shop if you need it. And boy, one of the most annoying things about buying stuff online, you're guessing at the size.
Yes.
Because all the brands are different.
See, a 3230 at Dillard's could be different for a 3230 at Macy's.
Yeah, all the different brands of clothes, they size different.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying sending stuff back. So, Gen Z, they're shopping in person, which is good for everybody. Fox News, Exploring Energy and more coming up on 96.5 KECO in Elk City. Hey, stay safe in the wind out there, and remember, KECO loves you.
Cool country.
I love the nonstop music. I love your music because it's such a wide range.
This is KECO Elk City.